welcome back to the YouTube channel Pro Enzo Vidz, and tonight is the Ankle Breaker Podcast, episode 68 on the YouTube channel yet again for another week. Big show ahead. We've got a lot of things to talk about, and look, I have the pleasure of having both co-hosts and a special guest on tonight. So first of all, we've got Champa making his return after absence last week, which is all good. And then we've got Haynesy back on the podcast again as a special guest tonight. So we'll start with you first, Haynesy. How are you, bro? And look, I saw you on Thursday, and obviously, you know, your voice got the win over mine, so I'll give you that. But yeah, bro, how you been?
Hey, mate. G'day, Champa. Thanks for having me on, boys. No, it was good to see you again on Thursday. Yeah, great that the Roosters got the job done. Hope you enjoyed your night at the SCG. I know it's not the best ground to be at for rugby league, but, you know, it was good to see you again, mate. And, but yeah, came for the podcast tonight.
Yeah, I won't lie. It was hard to watch the game from the SCG. Like, it's not at all rugby league.
Well, you saw me after the game where I was sitting, right? And I don't know if you remember when Tupou thought he scored that and they got bundled in the touch. We couldn't see the ball because of the advertising. That's how bad with the sit at the SCG. It's terrible. It's terrible. You know, and like we couldn't even see the put down because the advertising is so bad. But you know, it's. I mean, you know, it's still a historic ground, and you know, I've got so much respect for the SCG. But thank God we're out of there again. We're back at Allianz this weekend, and can't wait to be back at the best stadium in the country.
Oh yeah, I love Allianz. It's a great ground, I'll tell you that much. And Champa, as always, good to have you back on the podcast, bro. How you been? And yeah, welcome back to the podcast, bro.
Yeah, sorry for my absence, everyone. I've been up in Newcastle recently, just taking care of some personal business, but I made a quick drive all the way back down just in time for the podcast. 30 minutes before the podcast starts, I rush back inside, make sure I get everything set, just so I can be here tonight. And we've got some mad topics coming up. Unfortunately, my West Tigers didn't get the win over the Raiders. Controversial. We'll get into that very soon. But other than that, thank you everyone for joining in. Episode 68 of the Ankle Breaker Podcast. We have Haynesy as special guest. Me and Proenzo will be running things. Make sure to drop a like and comment. And let's get this podcast underway.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And Champa, like, I appreciate your dedication to the podcast. Like, make a drive from Newey to back to Sydney in time for the show. It just shows your true dedication as a co-host. So that doesn't go unnoticed. So that's incredible. But yeah, no, look, good to hear. And you know, we'll get into the podcast shortly. But going to check who is in the live chat. So we've got Jason Reader, evening, Jason Reader, evening. Josh Rabbitohs 2023, hello. Luke, Melbourne Storm fan, hello, mate. How are you? Aaron Marnie, hello. Rishi Zunak, hello. And Will, hello. And CJ, and hello as well. So I've got a good crowd so far building up on this beautiful 7 p.m. Monday nights for the podcast. So yeah, it's looking good so far. So look, big show coming up. And as always, please be sure to, again, like this video and subscribe to both my channel and all our Champa's and Haynesy's channels as well. So don't forget to do that. But I guess we'll make a start now.
Let's do it. Let's get out of the way.
Let's go. So as always, the round 23 review. So look, the round of footy we'll talk about and give our thoughts on it. So wasn't, I guess, the best round, if you know what I mean. Probably wasn't great. I know the first game of footy wasn't. Look, it was good for a bit, I will say, and I guess me and Haynesy will have more of a discussion about it soon. But I suppose that wasn't the best game to start off this round, if I'm being honest. But other than that, some games were all right, but some were just a bit, I don't know, a bit boring for me. But Champa, I'll start with you first. Based on the round of footy, what did you make of it?
Yeah, it was a very interesting round of footy. A lot of results that some were expected, some were not. Starting up with the Roosters and Manly. Roosters getting a good win over Manly. Unfortunately, your boys Pro Enzo couldn't get the win, but look, it's a good pathway for Roosters to try and find a miracle and make their way into the 8. So that was all right. Look, we also had Penrith and Storm. Penrith just too strong for the Melbourne Storm. And it's not usual that you see the Melbourne Storm not only get out-muscled in their forwards, but just so lost on their edge. Like all their tries that Penrith were scoring out on that edge, it's like Storm had no answer to their outside attack, and their defense was just all over the place. So it's great that the Panthers look again still on top of the table, still a team to beat. They can't be beaten. Not from what I see. We also had what else we had? We had the Queensland Derby, Cowboys Brisbane. Brisbane just too strong. This proves that they can play without Adam Reynolds, even without their main director on the field. Jock Manning stood up. He did the job, and also the combination between Walsh and Mam is just it's electric. That combination is unbelievable, and also the forwards as well. Like Paddy Carrigan, geez, what a game did he have against the Cowboys? And again, scoring another try, and he just looks so comfortable in the middle. It's amazing to see, and Brisbane just too strong for the Cowboys. The Knights getting a close win over the Dolphins. Yeah, it was a very, very impressive win for the Knights. And again, this again increases their chances of solidifying their spot in the 8. And I think out of every team, of course, we can talk about Brisbane having a huge turnaround, the Warriors having a huge turnaround. The Knights should also be looked at a massive turnaround from the start of the season, which I predicted to be wooden spooners. Have now they're a good chance of finishing probably just shy out of the top 4, which is great to see. So it's great to see that. The Rabbitohs, unfortunately, not getting the win over the Sharks. A bit of a upset this one because Sharks snapped that losing streak, and Rabbitohs. Haynesy is definitely happy about that.
It's a good week when the Roosters win, Souths lose. That's for sure.
Look, it was a shock to see because it's just the Roosters were just. I mean, not the Roosters. The Rabbitohs were just lost, and the Sharks. It's not that the Rabbitohs were lost and the Sharks are playing average. The Sharks are playing some really good footy, and it's the type of footy they need to, still save their season and make it into the A. And of course, we also had Raiders versus Tigers. Unfortunately, the Tigers lost, but I feel like we were still competitive in this match, and obviously we'll get to that match very soon. But the round that was round 23, a great round, and keen to see round 24.
Yeah, good summary there, Champa, for sure. I think the games, like Broncos, Cowboys, and probably Penrith and Storm were the standout games to me, and probably Dolphins and Knights just to an extent as well. But yeah, it was decent, I guess. Haynesy, so I guess with the first game between Manly and Roosters, look, we're both there, obviously. We both were there live to see how it all went out. So, yes, Roosters won 26-16. And, as a Roosters fan, what do you take away from that game? Like, what's the improvement you saw in the Roosters from that game?
Look, it's funny, right? Like, a lot of people weren't liking that game. They said it was boring and all that kind of stuff. But I actually enjoyed it. Because it's funny that when your team plays, you're not going to say that, this game's boring, all that kind of stuff, it was a great win for us. Really pleased with the effort. We're celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the 2013 premiership win. And a lot of that game reminded me of that 2013 season, the Bondi War. We kept you out for nearly 70 minutes in that game. You had the first 10 minutes going your way. We kept turning you away and able to score points at the other end, which was a big thing for us. Look, our attack was a lot better. I thought we looked more straight. We looked to be more straight, and I think Drew Hutchinson proved that. When Hutchinson got named at 14, I had my doubts. And then an hour before kickoff, it says that he's going to start. I was like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Bit of a shock.
But proves me wrong every time, and that's what I love about Drew Hutchinson. A lot of fans, we love him, and I would never go out and bag my own player like that. But you always got to have those doubts about these certain players. Are they up for the job? But he proved all Roosters fans wrong. The thing that stood out for him was that 40-20. That was something that we just missed. Taking control of the game. But no, Billy Smith was a standout for me. It's great to see Billy. Just playing consecutive games. I heard a stat today. He has played 12 games between 2019 and 2022. This year he's played 10. So he's on track to play his most in a single season, which is great. And he's, it's there for him. The center job is there for the taking. we don't know where Suoliti is going to be next year. If he does stays on to play one more year for us, he's just got to be patient. There is a centre job there. Dom Young will be on the wing. Just be patient. And he's one of those guys that he'll stick all to the Roosters. And I think there's no one else. Nowhere else. I reckon he'll go. I reckon he'll be. He's just being a good player. Toots again just owns the air. He's one of the best wingers the Roosters have ever seen. One of the most underrated wingers of all time. Just how he just dominates through the middle, starts our sets off. Everyone just had a good game. They couldn't be happier. I couldn't really care about the last 15 minutes because a lot of circumstances happened that resulted in those 3 tries. I'm not going to get too much into the Nathan Brown send-off because it didn't affect the game. Yeah, it wasn't a send-off. He got 1 week. Justice was served. He got 1 week sent off. Who cares? But the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, Roosters got the 2 points. The season's still alive. Only 2 points out of the 8. There's still hope. And we got winnable games ahead. The Dolphins this Saturday into Para, which will be massive against the Eels. No offense to Champa, but I think we should put 70 past the Tigers like we did last year, and then into Souths at a cool stadium in round 27, the big blockbuster. So it's all to play for. But if we don't make it, we don't make it. But as long as we give ourselves a fighting chance, and we've proved that this week. We're still in the hunt. Results will fall into place if we just keep doing what we can control. So all in all, good result. Celebrate the 10-year anniversary of the 2013 Premiership. We also got to induct 5 new members into the Hall of Fame, including Minicello and Craig Fitzgibbon, which was awesome. I wish I was a millionaire so I could have gone to that. But anyway, good weekend for the Roosters, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, well said. And look, obviously for me, it hurt, I guess, to lose that. But I think for the Roosters, they had a purpose to turn up, I felt like. And, that 10-year grand final anniversary was part of the reason why. So, look, I knew Roosters wouldn't be easy beats. And the thing I didn't like was that everyone was saying that Roosters would be, pushovers, and the way they've been playing, they're just, not a side that would trouble us after 2 straight wins. Well, I knew that wouldn't be the case. I knew that at the SCG and this being an anniversary game for them, I knew that they wouldn't be, easy to get through. So, look, all I say is that, this game was obviously a game where Roosters were the better side, and Manly just weren't good enough. We're too inconsistent still, and until we do find a bit more consistency and a bit more of a plan in our game, our attack was awful. So until we find a bit more of a plan in our game, then I'll be a bit more confident going forward. But look, again, well on to the Roosters. They were too good, and I guess that's their win to celebrate for sure.
I feel like you guys missed your middles in that game. Matt Lodge getting injured in the 8th minute hurt you guys massively.
It did.
And I spoke to Lodge after the game, and he said he did his ACL. My heart sank. I don't wish any injury on any player, but he's not at the Roosters anymore, and it does frustrate me when people go and say, "Oh, good, he's gone." He did nothing to us. You're a load of shit. Lodge was massive for us in that 8 in a row run last year. And, he didn't have the best end to us, but to be fair, who else hasn't played bad? Nearly the whole team this year has been disappointing for the Roosters. So, and he's at a new club, and, you always wish your former players, except Latrell, all the best. But, it's disappointing for him, and he's a good guy. He's such a humble guy. He made a mistake 10 years ago. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone deserves a second chance, and he's a really humble guy, family man, he's just all he wants to do is redeem himself, and that's how he doesn't play his footy, goes out. But, I'm actually glad that Manly have kept him on for next year. It could have been a tough situation for him. He could have gone, they could have gone, no, sorry. Done. He had to do his rehab on his own, but he's with the club. He'll be rehab through the club, which is a good thing, and then be a good environment. So that's a good thing for him. But you guys are missing your forwards, and it's going to be a tough ask for men. You guys are not out of it. You're only 1 point out of the 8, but playing Penrith this week is a tough ask for you guys. And then I'm not sure what your run home is after.
Warriors,
Warriors and New
Bulldogs,
Zealand, yeah.
Tigers. Yeah.
Something in the Tigers, yeah. So I mean, it's not you're not out of it, but it's gonna be a tough ask. You feel like you got to win on Thursday night against Penrith.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a huge game. That's a huge game, and I'll be there obviously. So hopefully we keep it at least 1 to 12. But we'll see what happens. But look, on to our round 23 player of the week now. So yeah, again, there were a few good players this week and a lot of standouts, and probably a really tough call to make with who you're going to pick. So I found it very hard this afternoon to really lock in who I'd pick. But Champa, I'll start with you first. Who would your player of the round be for round 23?
Oh, there was a lot of players to choose from. A lot of games that I was watching closely, but my one's pretty simple, and I'm going to give it to Penrith Panthers Nathan Cleary. I feel like how Cleary controlled that game. His kicking game was spot on. Look, he was getting those repeat sets. The Storm had no answer for them. They couldn't. All they had to do was just clear the ball out and do a dropout Cleary's just so he's one of the best directors on the field in the game. He could just control a team, whoever he's paired up with, whether it's Jerome Loy or anyone else. He just knows how to get the job done, and his direction, I say, is the main reason for Penrith Panthers and their success for not only this year but the past 2 or 3 years. His passing game was spot on, and honestly, the reason why I'm giving him the player of the week for me was his kicking game. Kicking game was spot on. Getting those repeat sets, and that's what you need out of a halfback. Not only for him to always set up tries, but for just to set those repeat sets and give your team another chance to attack the trial line. So my player of the week is going to Nathan Cleary.
Yeah, good call. He was obviously a big part of the reason why they won on Friday. So I think Cleary, yeah, that's a fair call. I think without him, they wouldn't have won, I don't think, for sure. Haynesy, who was your player of the week for round 23?
It's hard to go past this one. I'm going to go with Ravalawa scoring 4 tries yesterday. I think there's one thing you got to point out in this game. Yeah, I know I forgot his name. The Eels guy on debut yesterday.
Arthur Miller-Stevens. Yes, that's his
name. Yeah, Arthur Stevens. Yeah, that's right. There was one point in this game early on. Stevens belted Ravalawa in the touch, and then Stevens scored a try on Dave. I'm not sure if he scored the first try, but he did score. He scored the first try. And that could have been the thing. Is like, but the thing is with Ravalawa was like, is this all you got, man? This is all you got. He gets kept at him, scored 4 tries, and that is very unheard of, especially at the Dragons. Like, he looked terrifying yesterday, Ravalawa, and that's at his best. He's a Fijian freight train, like Sivo. This is like, you got to be really good to bundle me in the touch, and that's what it looked like. He just bumped everyone off into the corner. It was a great effort. I know the Dragons didn't win, but the Dragons weren't even in this game if it wasn't for Ravalawa scoring 4 tries. So I'm going to go Ravalawa with the player of the week for me.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, he was good yesterday. But I will just say before I get into my one that if Isaac Lumi was playing, if he was playing,
you're getting cracked under the pressure because of CJ.
Like
Lumi.
like if he was playing, right? Because I think if Lumi was playing, he would have versed Ravalawa on the same side. So Ravalawa would have scored no tries. Ravalawa would have been belted into touch about 80 times, I reckon. And I reckon that Lumi would be like, whose village is better now? No, I'm joking. But
boys, you guys need Lumi as a guest. You guys need to get Lumi in a guest. You need to go out to Combank and say, look, we are one of the biggest podcasters on the planet. Get us on for a post-season interview. I reckon it'll break the internet having Lumi on.
Oh, we'll try. That's a dream. I'll make sure that when this podcast has Lumi on Monday, there'll be a red carpet rolled out live in air. So don't worry, I'll get that.
Yeah. Can't wait for that.
But yeah, for me though, my player of the week, a bit different, but I'm going to go with Patrick Carrigan. I think Carrigan was huge for the Broncos and their win against the Cowboys. He's playing well this year, obviously, but I think on Saturday afternoon, his game against the Cowboys just shows why he's so important to the Broncos team and why he's such a dominant part of their success. So, he scored his second ever try, which was good to see. And
on the edge, he's playing as a back rower.
Yeah,
he defends in the middle, then on the edge, and he plays an attack on the edge. Man,
he can do it all. He can do
it all now. He's off the duck. He's gone 2 in a row. Somebody stop him. I think it'd be a bit of value to score on this Friday as well. He's on a roll.
Yeah, I'd back it for sure if that's the case. But I'd say Carrigan. I think he's been good for Broncos, and he was a big part of the reason why I won Sunday. But look, that's that. We'll get into the topics now. So 1 to 5, obviously. So, look, the very first one we've got. Champa, this is your time to let it all out, mate. I know this was probably a tough one to take, but top number 1, the Tigers. So in yesterday's Raiders-Tigers game, obviously, look, it was I will say, because I didn't get to see most of I didn't see the first half because I was getting home, but I saw the second half of it, right? And it was actually a decent game from looking at the game. Like, it was actually decent, but it felt like a stage that the referee was sort of, being a bit against the Tigers in some calls, and that was pretty obvious. Now, for some reason, Jack White said that at the end of the game when he gave away that penalty for a high tackle and stuff for Toa right on the bell, White was saying that the referee was giving the Tigers all the calls, giving them all the calls. And I'm like, how? Like, Tigers were done. Tigers were bloody done. Like, you can see that too. So I don't know what White was thinking there, but anyway, Champa, look, tough loss, bro. I'm sorry about this loss and again, but what's your thoughts on this? Were the Tigers robbed?
Oh, we were. I'm going to say it because this is very similar to the first time we faced the Raiders when there was an obstruction and, the whole thing back there in the first game. Now we go, this game was a forward pass, and now the NRL again comes out and says, look, yes, it was a forward pass. The Tigers, were robbed. Oh, God. When are these refs going to be held accountable for their fucking mistakes? Seriously. Oh, and I saw a Facebook post on the West Tigers group chat that the group page, I should say, on Facebook. Apparently, the referee said that the touch judge was unlucky in not calling that forward pass. I'm sick of these excuses.
It's laughable. It's actually laughable.
I am sick of these excuses for these dud calls and missing blatant errors. Like, come on. What more does he have to see to say that's not a forward? To say that's a forward pass? What more does it have to legit fly in front of his face? It's a forward pass. I'm sick of it. And look, and of course people are going to say, it doesn't affect you guys. You guys no chance of making the 8. No, we're not. But at least we're trying to find some sort of pride in redeeming our horrible season. We're trying to redeem our horrible season, but we can't. We've officially gotten the wooden spoon now, and I reckon that this Raiders game was winnable if it wasn't for that forward pass. So, and for Jack White to say that the Tigers were giving all the calls, nah. That's bullshit.
Yeah, it was so funny for Jack White to say that when he did literally coat hanger Junior Tupou.
Yeah, Junior Tupou.
The problem is, and even the Dragons were dudded yesterday as well, and I was livid in both these decisions. It was like,
exactly.
Again, it doesn't bother me the result of this game, but like, we just want consistency in the game, and that's the one thing that has never happened. And it's hard to say that your team was robbed of a forward pass that happened in the 45th minute or something like that. But how many times have these guys, the NRL, bringing these new rules and all that kind of stuff when they cannot, but these referees cannot get the basics right? The problem with this pass it went forward, then bounced forward as well.
Indeed.
Like it was so obvious. But like, what does the touch judges have to do? Like, is it the touchies? Is it the referee? Does the touchies have a say in this? Does he say, hey, Mr. Referee, that's forward? Oh no, continue. You know, but
Rubbish.
There's 3 referees on that field plus a bunker, yet they still can't call a forward pass.
no.
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
The problem is with the forward pass, and they're never gonna bring it in because it'll be too controversial. Like, and it's so hard to judge on it. But that's a perfect one there. Like,
yeah,
I can understand a pass that is flat borderline, but the ones that was forward, like that one, where you could tell that was 5 meters forward. Like, and don't get me wrong, that was still a pretty good try from Sebastian Krish. I'll give him that. That was a pretty good try. But still, like, it shouldn't have happened. And then they missed another one early in the game. It feels like, though, that the top teams get favoured a little bit.
I agree.
Like, even the Eels yesterday, the Eels season was on the line. They're down 20-10. Clint Gutherson, I've never seen a rake more obvious than that. And they go, it's a loose carry. And, again, I couldn't care about the result, but it's more the fact that they are ruling that if you are – let's put it this way. If that was 50 metres down the track and they strip the ball out like that, that is 100% a rake. But because it's on the goal line, they're going to say that the ball carrier has to have more control of it. No. If you look at it properly. This is so bad of me saying this, like we're looking at this, but like there's Gutherson's hand. Like it's like that. He pulls down like that.
Yeah, it was obvious too.
That's clearly a rake. And they're going to say, because it's in a try-scoring situation, they're going to give the benefit of the doubt to the defensive team saying, that's a loose carry. Bullshit. No way that's a... Again, this doesn't affect my team, but I'm just fed up with the consistency in this game.
So, Haynesy, you reckon Tigers robbed?
Yes, I agree. I think the Tigers were robbed.
Yeah, and Champa, obviously, you think Tigers were robbed as well.
Yeah, because
I
don't think if it was for that Sebastian Krish try, we wouldn't need to try and pull a miracle out on the final seconds of the game.
Yeah.
Man, you guys were so close yesterday.
So close.
Very close.
I know this might be stepping on toes, but like their first try, they get the bounce from heaven. And then they get I'm sorry, but the Raiders are the most luckiest team in the comp A.
They are. How they're still in the
I
top
promise
eight,
you right now, Canberra will be out. This win now will probably secure that Raiders will make the 8 now. Exactly. But I can guarantee you that Canberra, if you guys are playing Canberra in week 1, you guys are basically getting a free entry into week 2 of the finals. They are not getting past week. And I'm sorry to Raiders fans if you are there, but you guys are the most luckiest team in the comp, honestly. The amount of calls that you guys get your way, it's ridiculous. The top back in round 13 when you guys played. There's so many times I can think of the Raiders have gotten out of jail. The Titans game where David Fafita, that's a push in the back. The Roosters game, miss a blatant forward pass. And then now, but I'd love to play a Canberra in week 1 of the finals.
Yeah,
I think the Roosters
honestly, I think Canberra are a team that will get exposed in the finals if they make it. They're not a legit team. That's for sure.
Mind you, with Canberra, they're finding ways to win. It's not pretty, but they're finding ways to win.
Yeah.
And I think there's 2 things you have to think about Canberra here. They're winning the tight games. When they're winning the tight games, so when they come finals time, games on the line, they know how to win these tight games. But against the 17th place Tigers, again, no disrespect to you, Champa, they should be putting the Tigers to the sword. And they haven't been able to do it all season. They have not been able to do it to any team.
Exactly, yeah.
To any team. They cannot win 13 plus. I think Canberra 1 to 12 every week should be $1 because they're not winning 13 plus.
Yeah. Look, for me, Tigers were robbed, and I agree with what you both said. I think the forward pass was obviously a blatant forward pass. That was ridiculous. But I just think towards the end as well, some of the calls made there were just wrong. So look, it's pretty unfortunate to see that. I think this is the second year in a row that the Tigers have been dudded into the wooden spoon. That must hurt Tigers
Oh,
fans for
don't
sure.
bring up the Cowboys one. I'm still fed up with that.
Oh, that was that was last year that was ridiculous. I agree, but no, look, they were robbed, and I'm sorry, Champ, I'm sorry to Tigers fans for copying that. So it's very unfortunate. But look, we'll move on now, I suppose. But it's sad. It's sad either way. All right, on to topic number 2. And this is obviously what the hell? I didn't change that one yet. Sorry about that. I don't know why the hell that came up, but
which one with the Roosters?
Yeah, we'll go this one just for now. I'll fix it up after. But all right, on to number 3. So I'll make this number 2 for now. But Connor Watson. Now look, there's talk that he's been shopped around, but I don't know if it's all but true. But there's clubs that are after him, like the Tigers have been rumored to be after him, the Bulldogs have been rumored to be after him as well. So there seems to be a bit of a interest in Connor Watson for next year and beyond. And I believe the Roosters want to keep him as well long term as well. So what does happen to Connor Watson will be interesting, but I've heard more talk that he'll stay at the Roosters and leave the club, but we'll see what happens. Haynesy, I'm sure you've heard these rumours already. Do you see Connor Watson staying at the Roosters, or do you see him unfortunately being released very soon?
It's a tough one, this one. I personally want him to stay, and it'll be a shit way to go. It'll be a shit way to go. He has confirmed to me spoke to him on Thursday after the game. He did confirm that he's not playing again this year. He said his knee's not right. It's just not strong enough to play. And that's fair enough. And that'll be a sad way to end his time at the Roosters. I think the thing is, though, Connor and Robbo have a great connection. They get along well. And Robbo will fight tooth and nail to keep him at the club. It's just a matter of can we afford him. The thing is, though, we've got a few options there as a 14. Obviously, Jake Turpin, Sen Smith is the future. He'll be the future 14 in years to come. He is a hooker. He does play halfback. He's perfect for that role. Jake Turpin's played awesome for us this year. You got Drew Hutchison as well. There's a few options there for him, but I think what Connor Watson brings to the Roosters, out of dummy half, he brings speed into the game. He's a handy hooker, and he can also play back row, lock, fill in at half 5'8". He can fill in anywhere. And those are what kind of utilities that you want to have at the club. So, I think the thing is, though, the Bulldogs would definitely want him. Bulldogs are after everyone, though. Let's be real.
Yeah, just about.
Tigers, I think. I don't know about the Tigers. Will he fit in at the Tigers? He can play multiple roles, but you've got Appy there. For me, Appy's got to be on the field for 80 minutes. I feel like that he's going to play 80 minutes. I think he would stay at the Roosters. There's so many options, though. So we'll see how he goes. But, I feel like he will stay. I think he'll do enough to stay.
Yeah, I think Roosters would want to keep him as well. Brings a lot of versatility and great jersey 14 too. So I can't forget that. Just quickly before I get to Champa, I just realised I got a $10 donation by Viking King. So Viking King, thank you for the $10 donation. That I appreciate. He says, "Keep crying, bunch of sooks." Okay, yeah. I won't read the comment, but Viking King, the donation means a lot. So thank you very much. But anyway, Champa.
Who are the Raiders playing next week?
Raiders have got Melbourne this Sunday.
In Melbourne too, I think.
Hey, Canberra can beat Melbourne in Melbourne. That's the only thing.
Good record.
We're talking about this Canberra though. The pretenders instead of the contenders.
Yeah, well,
I don't know. If Canberra won't get.
They can't put us away. What chance do they have against the Storm? But that's next week.
And then Melbourne will be pissed off about losing last week too. They don't lose back-to-back games, really. I am tipping Melbourne, but yeah.
It's rare. Yeah. Anyway, Champa, obviously Tigers, your club's after Connor Watson. Would you take him there, or do you see him staying at the Roosters?
Oh, look, I'll definitely take I definitely take Connor Watson into the club. He could slot him well into our back row, into our lock. I think he'll make a perfect lock. What I think he'll also make is a great interchange player, whether it's coming into the middle, whether in lock or even in prop, just to help our defense out. If he can move into the back row, into hooker, or even I reckon he could probably get the job done out in the outside in the centers, because I think we've got our halves sort of depth covered with Latu coming into the side, and also with Adam Caesar there, and also with us also having the Silver and even Will Smith and Brandon Wakeham. Our sort of halves depth is covered. So if Connor Watson was to come to the Tigers, he'd bring a lot of depth within our middle. And I think that's where our strongest link within the Tigers is our middle, because we rarely get out-muscled in the middle, especially with Clemmer, Lukatamanu, Papali, Bateman, Pole. We're strong in that middle, and I reckon Connor Watson fit in right well. Other than that, the Dogs would probably be another big contender. Very, very ironic for Gus to say that they're going to build their success within their club, within their juniors, and here they are buying all these players and now interested in Connor Watson. So, smart thinking there, Gus. But look, other than that, Connor Watson will fit in well in the Dogs as well. And the Roosters, I think the Roosters are thinking they should keep Connor Watson. I mean, he's a talented player, and I don't see any reason for him leaving. I don't see any reason the Roosters actually letting him go. So I think they'll find a deal very, very soon. And I honestly reckon Connor Watson's going to stay. But look, if the Tigers are going to throw a contract at him and he's keen on coming, I want to be mad. I'd love to see him in Tigers colours for sure.
Yeah, no, look, it'd be a good pickup for you guys, I reckon. I think he'd complete your forward pack, especially with having good back rows and Bateman and Papali'i, and having Clemmer up front with Pole. So, it's a decent pack if you get Watson, but we'll see what happens, I guess. But look, I'm pretty confident the Roosters will re-sign him. I'm pretty confident he'd stay there. It depends whether, I guess, they have any other plans themselves going forward, or anything like that. But look, he's been injured all year, and I think Robertson, like Haynesy said, has a lot of love for Watson. So I think his faith will be kept for him, and we'll keep him going forward. But teams like Dogs and Tigers have a bit of money to throw around. I wouldn't be shocked if they swayed him comes to their clubs as well. But no, look, I'm pretty confident that the Roosters will keep him.
Sorry to interrupt there, but interesting story about Connor Watson. I remember when he was off contract at Newcastle, he rang Robbo to say, "Can you get me a reference so I can go to Callum's?" Because that was the club that he was at.
Oh wow!
And he's like, "How about you come here? I'll speak to Uncle Nick. I'll speak to the boys, to the club, see if we can get you in." And then, come to us last year.
Yeah, that's great. Because I don't think Connor Watson would have been.
Robbo does. Robbo looks after his players, regardless of where they're at.
And exactly. And I don't think Connor Watson would be the player he is now if he did go to Callans. I think, him going to the Roosters, I really think was the better for him. So and honestly, I hope he stays.
Agreed, boys. Yeah, I agree. All right, on to the third topic now. So this was the other one was the third one, I know, but got a big start. But this is the third one. So look, NRL today, I think, or maybe yesterday actually, but there was a report that said that the NRL have locked in a move to Auckland for Origin in one day. So instead of having the neutral game at Melbourne or Perth or Adelaide for 1 year, they're going to do it for Auckland one day. So I don't know what year, but they've locked in a move to New Zealand for a state of origin now. I don't know if Origin works in New Zealand, if I'm being honest. Like, I found it very...
I hate this idea.
Yeah, I found it very strange. I found it very strange. So, yeah, look, I don't know how the NRL will get their way around this one, but I'm not too sure either. But Haynesy, what's your take on this one?
I hate this idea. I honestly do. And there's nothing against New Zealand at all. But this is the thing I think of it. This is where Queensland v New South Wales. And I get annoyed when we take games to South Australia and Perth. But in what world does New Zealand have done to deserve a state of origin? And again, this is the problem I've got with it. Think of the young Kiwi about 12, 13, 14, they're playing rugby league. All of a sudden, Origin comes to New Zealand. And they go to the Origin, and this is the first real big game that they've been to. It'll all depend on where the Warriors are. Like compared to rugby, where you've got the Rugby World Cup over there, you've got the Bledisloe Cup. They play there every year. That's a big game, big thing for New Zealand. They always want to beat Australia in rugby, and then that's their goal. They all want to play for the All Blacks. And there's young Kiwis there. They love the Warriors, but they're not massively interested in it. The thing I've got with it coming to New Zealand is, if you look at the young talent from New Zealand, they go to this Origin game. It's probably the first big game they've ever been to in their life, and they love it all of a sudden. They're going to go, I want to play for Queensland. I want to play for New South Wales.
That's going to happen.
They're not going to play for New Zealand. They don't want to care about playing for their country. They're going to worry about playing for Queensland and New South Wales. And the problem is, though, like, over the last few years, I just don't like the fact that they're playing in a state. It's Queensland, New South Wales. That's where the rivalry is. That's where the hatred is. I'm all for. Like, last week we had a double header in Perth. We had 50,000 fans there. I'm all for that. I'm all for New Zealand getting Magic Round. I'm all for South Australia hosting games. But state of origin should be between New South Wales and Queensland. I've said that for many years. I can accept Melbourne. Because that's where we play rugby league in Melbourne at times.
Yeah.
And there is hatred there as well. But Perth, South Australia, doesn't work for me. New Zealand's not going to work. So I'm going to ask it to you two boys. Champa, would you fly to New Zealand to go watch State of Origin? Lorenzo,
yes.
Are you going to fly to New Zealand to watch a game of State of Origin?
Champa, you can answer it first.
Well, look, I'm not as strong as you boys. I actually disagree. I think it's wonderful to bring State of Origin to New Zealand, and I'll explain why. Firstly, yeah, I'll definitely go to New Zealand and watch the State of Origin, because think about this. You talk about a young kid from New Zealand watching a game. In New Zealand, where rugby is dominating the whole country, and rugby league, it's slowly growing thanks to the Warriors' success, but it hasn't reached the heights as, say rugby union and even MMA within UFC with fighters like Israel Adesanya, Robert Whittaker, those fighters who originally come from New Zealand. And that's taken a huge fan base in that country as well. Rugby league is trying to grow. So say you're a young 12-year-old boy and you want to play rugby league, and then you see State of Origin come overseas from Australia, and you go to that game and you think to yourself, wow, if this is what rugby league is, then I'm going to do everything I can to make sure to get into this competition. And say they accepted it, and who says they're going to go over to Australia and play for an Australian team because of two Australian states playing? If they fall in love with the game, why not show their pride and play for their country?
That's not the issue of them playing club footy for. It's more the fact that they want to. They state that their what's the word? Their alliance or whatever they call it. I state that I want to play for Queensland. I want to play for New South Wales. Instead of playing for, I want to play for New Zealand. They're going to think about, oh, yeah, I like Origin. I want to play for Queensland. This is how good I could be. I want to play for New South Wales. But they're going to forget the fact that they can't represent New Zealand. I think that's the issue. It's going to be good for New Zealand, good for the game of New Zealand rugby. But at the end of the day, it'll be good for a short-term thing, long-term. No one will want to play for the Kiwis. I think that's the issue. That
I think that's looking too much into it.
If you're a 12-year-old, You go watch Origin for the first time in New Zealand. You want to be like, just say, for example, Reece Walsh goes out and has a blinder. I want to play like Reece Walsh. I want to be like Reece Walsh. I want to play for the Broncos. I want to play for Queensland. Which means that you're going to play for Australia. I think that's the issue. I think they're going to state their allegiance to another country.
Well, I think when you put it like that, I think you're looking too much into it because let's say, for instance, if you get the World Cup in New Zealand and we see Australia versus England play there and they have a cracker a game. I don't think any New Zealand kid's going to say, I want to play for Australia, I want to play for England. They're going to look at that and say, I want to take my country, New Zealand, into the finals. Just like a young Kiwi kid would say, I want to play for the Warriors and take them to the top. And I heard you earlier, Haynesy said that what has New Zealand done to deserve a game of Origin? I think we still have to keep in mind that the many players from the Warriors who did stay for close to a year or two in Australia during the whole COVID pandemic, they sacrificed a lot, and this is a way of the game giving back to New Zealand as a country to take a game up to Origin.
Yeah, but can you think of there's anything else that they can give though? Can they give them a magic round? Bring back the nines. Bring games over there. But like State of Origin,
I think this is a good experiment to see. I think this is a good experiment to see how passionate the New Zealand crowd is. You're taking one of our biggest games over there.
I understand all that. But like you're gonna rob the New South Wales fans and Queensland fans who
I wouldn't say robbed, since they're still gonna get a game at each round.
Yeah, but like
So Haynesy, you're not a fan.
And also think of the time zone. Think of the time zone. So if this is going to work, they have locked in for an 8 p.m. kickoff Australian time, which means that there's going to be 10 o'clock kickoff in New Zealand. Like, it's going to be too late. Like, I don't know. Like,
I think when you look at it like that, I think this is when we look, instead of a Wednesday game, to more towards a Sunday game where it can be favourable for the time zones and have a more early kickoff in New Zealand. And of course, that means Origin would be earlier within Australia, but it's on a Sunday. We're not rushing home from work quickly just to watch Origin.
That's true.
Yeah, and that's a whole other topic of whether Origin should be played on Wednesdays or Sundays. A whole different topic. I still think this would work. I still think that it's an interesting experiment for the NRL to see how Origin will fare in New Zealand. And look, if it works, then it doesn't have to be a yearly thing. It can be probably once every 2 or 3 years that they take a game out to New Zealand. And look, I reckon it will sell out. I mean, earlier today, Tigers and Warriors in Hamilton sold out. And that's a dud game. I reckon Origin will sell just like that if it was taken to New Zealand. So I reckon it's a good experiment from the NRL.
Look, I'm not against it either. I really am not. I think that Origin New Zealand would be cool to see. I guess it's a bit different compared to where it's been in the past. So, I guess you've got to consider how the time zones work and stuff. But I think the demonstration of having it a bit earlier in New Zealand compared to Australia, that could work. It really could. So, but yeah, I guess with the NRL now locking it in, it depends what they really do with it all, because it's going to happen. But what they actually put in place for it to go forward and happen, it'll be interesting to see. But look, I'll just say this quickly. I'm a fan. It would be cool to see. Play it at Eden Park or Mount Smart Stadium, one of them both. It'd be really good to see, I reckon. Be different, but I don't mind it. I really don't. I don't mind it. All right. On to topic number 4 now. So it's the second last topic. Now, look, this is some news that broke not too long ago. And, obviously he has said that he wants to coach one day and be a head coach. And it looks like he will get a job now. So Sam Burgess, who is an assistant coach at the Rabbitohs at the moment, I believe, he is set to become the new Warriors and Wolves coach. So that's a club in the Super League, if you don't know. So obviously Sam Burgess is from England, and he started his career in the Super League too. So it's sort of a homecoming for him, I guess. But obviously Warriors lost their coach recently, and they tried going for Justin Holbrook, but he turned them down. But now Sam Burgess has shown his interest in the role, and I think that's about to happen. Haynesy, are you a fan of Sam Burgess becoming a head coach? And is this the right start for him in the Super League?
100%. I'm pretty sure he played at Warrington. I'm not really sure where was his background for the Super League before he came to Souths. But I like this idea. You know, we all see rookie coaches in their first gig in the NRL fail. Like there's so many times that we can think of. You know, it's a great start. No, I think a good coach, you know, buys his time, and I think he'll be good in the Super League. You know, learn a trade. You know, just I think it'll work out for me. I think he'll do well at the Super League. You know, I think there's always going to be a job there at Souths. You know, if Demetrio doesn't work out, if Sam Burgess has 3 years in the Super League, he'll be getting the first phone call back. You know, I think it'll be a good opportunity for him. He gets to go home. Hasn't been home for nearly many years. I think this is a good opportunity for him. You know, and again, I'm not sure where Warrington are in the Super League, but
they're high ladder.
They're high. Okay, there you go. So like, an opportunity there, you know, maybe win some success. And we've seen so many times that you win success in the Super League, you know, you get looked at in the NRL. Like perfect example, Trent Robinson. He was in the Super League at Catalans. I'm not sure, can't remember how he went, but I'm pretty sure he did well there. Come to the Roosters, and he's one of the best coaches with it. In top 3 for me. Top 3: Bennett, Bailey, Robinson. So, you know, and Justin Holbrook had, you know, I know he didn't have great success at the time, but I don't think he did a bad job.
No,
there are so many opportunities there at the Super League. You do well, learn your trade, come back with experience, and, you know, come in a good club like South, it'll be a good opportunity for him. So I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, no, it's a good platform for sure.
And he's definitely learned a lot. I can't remember. I don't know if CJ's still in the chat or not, but was he part of the coaching staff when Wayne Bennett was there?
Yeah, he was.
I know he retired in 2019. So
he was a trainer.
He got experience from Bennett. He got experience from Demetrio. He can take that into the Super League, and then obviously, come back with experience and do well.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Champa, are you a fan of Sam Burgess becoming a head coach over the Super League? Good opportunity for him.
Oh, I'm a massive fan, and I thought for someone like Sam Burgess, it was a matter of time for him to get that coaching role, whether it was in the NRL or in the Super League. And I think the Super League is a great start, especially with a team like Warrington. Even with my limited knowledge of the Super League, I am familiar that Warrington is one of the top dogs in the Super League, and it's obvious that they know their worth, and they know that they want a good coach leading their side. And I think Sam Burgess, you know, he's one of the best. He's just everyone talks so good about him. His leadership there, whether it was him playing for the Rabbitohs or him even now in the coaching staff, he has a wealth of knowledge to teach the players, and obviously a big factor behind the success for South within that coaching staff obviously is Sam Burgess. And look, I think he's going to lead Warrington well. He'll definitely teach those forwards how to hit hard, how to run their lines properly. And I think it's only a matter of time when he's back in the NRL as a coach. Once he comes back to the NRL, 100% he'll be coming back as a coach. Look, whatever coach is, look, will it be at the Rabbitohs or will it be at a different team? I reckon he'll take any role. But it's great to see him back in the Super League, back to where it all started as a coach now. And yeah, look, I'm very keen to see how he goes because, like I said, if he goes well for Warrington and even picks up a premiership for them, then look, he'll be back in the NRL in no time as a coach. And yeah, I'm keen to see how he goes.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think it's good experience for him as well because I think, he's familiar to England. He's familiar to the Super League. He'd know what he's, doing over there, I suppose. So, I agree with what you both said. It's a good platform for him to start off his coaching career full-time as well. And, look, I think he can make a very good coach. I really do agree. I think he's got good knowledge in the game. As you said, Champa, he's great for the forwards. I think they'll hit harder and they'll, lead the pack with pride. So that's what Burgess would do for a forward pack, I think. But no, he's I think he'll be one of those coaches that will be very, hard nosed and stuff, and he'll, be a very tough and a good leader as a coach, I reckon. Bit like how it was in his playing days as well. So, yeah, I think for Warrington's sake, he'll be good for them. I guess Warrington started the year well. They had a bit of a slip off now, but they're still pretty good. But yeah, he'll hopefully bring some identity back to them and hopefully bring some sort of success there. So I agree with what you both said. I think Sam Burgess would make a good coach. And yeah, I see him back in the NRL one day, whether that's a head coach or assistant coach. It wouldn't be too long, I don't reckon. Not at all. All right. And the fifth and final topic now, last but not least, very controversial, this one. So leave the controversy to last, I guess, with this one. But yeah, number 5. So we all saw what happened in the Storm Panthers on Friday night. I mean, we're all watching the game, obviously. So Jerome Luai, he basically shoulder charged Nelson Asafa-Solomona in the head, and basically it was careless. It was a careless tackle. It was high, and yeah, basically, it was definitely careless. There's no doubt about that. That's why he's been pointed out for it. But the weird thing is there was no suspension. So I'm like, why is there no suspension if it was a careless high tackle, which the NRL gave? So I don't know. Again, it's very weird, the consistency in the game at the moment. It doesn't make sense to me. And I'm very confused as what every NRL fan would be as well. Champa, I'm assuming you saw what Luai did to Nelson. Do you think there should have been a suspension after what he did?
Oh, this is a blonde moment from the NRL and their judiciary. I mean, seriously, how is it you're going to send off Mo Fortawaka and Nathan Brown and give out suspensions, but then Jerome Luai gets no charge whatsoever?
I get it.
Absolutely. Or is it because it's a halfback on a front rower? Is that the reason why there's no charge? I mean, sure, that's not why. I seriously can't give any explanation why the NRL did this. I mean, there's no difference between all 3 tackles. It was all shoulder contact to the head. And Jerome Luai's one was careless. So at least with Lodge and Mo Fortawaka, I wouldn't say it was careless, but it was. Would you say it was intent to the shoulder those 2 other tackles?
No.
In my personal opinion, I think they were just trying to make a high tackle, and the attacking players were just in the wrong position and got the shoulder to the head. But for Luai's case, it was careless, and I don't know what I love to hear the NRL's explanation for this, because I can't give any explanation. I can't say anything. All I can say is the NRL just didn't bother to give that any sort of disciplinary action, which is, it's again back to no consistency. I mean, that's all I can say. I can't explain. I don't know why that wasn't given a suspension or anything like that. It's ridiculous.
Wasn't even charged.
Yeah,
wasn't even charged.
Ridiculous how he can get off on that. I can't even say anything. It's just the NRL just was oblivious to it. I can't explain. I can't say anything. It's stupid.
I think when people say there's a conspiracy in the game with some players and clubs, it's real. It's real. And I hate to say that. I really do think.
If that was Victor Radley and Harry Hargreaves, he's sent to jail.
Yeah, true.
If that happened, he gets sent to jail.
That's true. And Latrell.
If that was Nelson as well, if Nelson did that tackle to Jerome Luai, the internet would break. Like, we get like a 20 years in jail.
Yeah.
You can't hit Golden Boy Luai.
Come to think of it, Penrith have been getting some weird leniency from the judiciary all the way back from when Taylor May was allowed to play his final games and serve his suspensions next season, like his suspensions are on afterpay or something like that. And then now you get this moment right here where I don't know what to say. I honestly don't know what to say.
Champa, sorry, Haynesy. We've Tyron May's one. It was for the fans.
Oh, for the fans. Think of the fans.
Think of the fans. Oh, Jerome Luai. Well, we can't suspend Jerome Luai. Think of the fans.
That's right.
Is Luai the most punchable face in the NRL?
Honestly, it's ridiculous.
I'd love to put one on his chin, eh? Someone just put one on his chin. But in saying that, though, like, we literally talked about this in topic number 1, the consistency. It's shot. Brown gets sent off 1 week. Mo Fonawaker gets sent off 1 week. Tom Burgess gets sin binned 3 weeks. But yet Luai, similar stuff, comes swinging arm, shoulder to the head, doesn't even get charged, doesn't get cited. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. What the...
Well, we can't even say anything. We can't say anything. It's just so bad. It is so bad that I'm speechless. I'm legit speechless.
Yeah. No, look, it's bad. It's very bad.
And then Val Holmes gets 4 weeks for his shot, which was pretty. But this is just. I don't know.
But then the drum like let go. Like this is so bafflingly bad by the NRL. This is the worst. I'm going to say this right now. This is the worst This is the worst call from the NRL and the judiciary system I've seen in a long time. It is so bad because it wouldn't be as bad if it weren't for, say, Nathan Brown, Mo Fodawaker, Tom Burgess. But from what we've seen this round with the 2 send-offs and with Tom Burgess, how something like this can be just
that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing, though. Like, if you go to me and you show me those 4 tackles and go, that one got let off, I was like, what is the fucking sorry for the language, but I'm actually annoyed. But what's the difference between those 4 tackles? What's the difference? What's the difference?
True. And I honestly wouldn't be blowing up as much if it wasn't for what we've seen early in the round with the send-offs. Like, this goes back to consistency. There is no consistency.
Exactly right. None. Exactly right. And I'm talking about a Roosters fan, talking about someone who plays at Souths. 2 got sent off 1 week. He only gets sin bin and gets 3 weeks. Where's it? What? It's laughable.
It's ridiculous.
So bad.
It's fucked. And look, I will say this just quickly as well that I do think there's a conspiracy in the game. There really is. I think there's because finals are approaching. I feel like teams like Penrith with Luai now not getting suspended for what he did. It's because they want to keep the 2-horse race between Broncos and the Panthers open for the top for the minor premiership. I feel like that's one of the conspiracies I'm thinking about right now.
They want those ratings. They want those ratings.
Yeah, I think as well.
Luai is such a little grub. Then he goes out and attacks a journalist over the week as well. Like,
Michael Carianis.
Look, he's a character, Luai.
He's a character, but like, still.
Yeah.
But now he's saying now it's okay to go out. Doesn't matter. Can we move on?
Just ask him the question. Ask him the question that MC asked him. Luai, you're not a dickhead, so why do you act like one?
I don't know.
He's probably a nice guy. He gives back to the fans, and all that kind of stuff. But like, why do you act like a dickhead?
Yeah,
honestly,
I think that's a question everyone asks him. Like, honestly, but it's ridiculous either way. He not get suspended.
I think this is more the NRL's fault than Luai's because the NRL was the one to not discipline.
Oh no, it's not Luai's fault, but like,
I'm still just baffled with the NRL and their
it's annoying.
It's just shot.
It'd be interesting if he does it this week. If he does it this week, maybe he gets work more instead of 1 week. He probably gets 3 weeks if he does it again.
Yeah, well, Thursday night we'll see what happens if he does.
Maybe it's a warning shot. It's like, you do it again, you're getting the book thrown at you. But anyway, we'll see what happens.
100%. Yeah, we'll see what happens. He better be suspended next time if he does it again. But that brings an end to all 5 topics in the podcast for tonight. So everyone, thank you very much again for watching. It was a great show. I enjoyed the debates and the talks we had about everything tonight. It was a really good show in general. So thank you to both All That Champa and Haynesy for the podcast. I do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on, mate.
Pleasure, gentlemen. Anytime, boys. Enjoy your weekend of footy.
Yeah, you too, bro. No, look, good luck to all our teams. Hopefully, they all get up somehow. Hopefully. But yeah, as always, thank you for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe to, well, like this video and subscribe to both, or all of our channels, I should say. Myself, or at Champa and Haynesy, all linked in the description down below. So please subscribe
Also,
to. If you don't subscribe to them-
shout out to CLPA.
yeah, up the CLPA.
Making the community great again.
Someone clip that.
Yeah, shout out to them. But yeah, thank you for watching and have a good night, everyone.
Cheers.